One thing I've learned so far on YouTube is that when you can't think of what video to make, just go to BuzzFeed and find something that makes the Kardashians look like Mr. Peabody and Sherman. That's exactly what I did, and I've come across two videos in specific. 30 questions females have for males, and feminists try manspreading, whatever it's called. I had to Google what retarded word these feminists came up with this time, and I'll explain later in the video, but for now, I'm going to watch some feminists ask preschooler questions about us. Ooh, I wonder what a pee-pee looks like.
How does it feel to be the same sex as Donald Trump?
Okay, how does it feel being the same gender as Amber Heard, the ex-wife of Johnny Depp that reverse Chris Browned him? How does it feel being the same gender as the people on Twitter that falsely accuse men of abuse and rape that can possibly ruin their lives for the most part? Let that just sink in real slow for you guys, because I don't want to scare them off too soon, because I'm just getting started.
Why do you hate rom-coms? Or do you just feel like you need to hate them?
Well, no. Apparently, a rom-com is short for romantic comedies. Well, first of all, I think they are hella corny and a big sack of camel piss. And the fact that they're the more poorly received movie genres out there. I'd rather watch a preschooler tell playground jokes on a stage in front of millions of people than watch a romantic comedy. It's just my personal opinion.
Why do you make women sit around and talk about men in movies
when y'all easily just sit around and talk about boobs for hours?
Well, that there is an insult to the chicken connoisseur in Shrek 5. That may have caused me emotional distress. You guys insulted me and stereotyped me. I may as well go on a Twitter rant about this. Let's falsely accuse her of verbal trauma.
Are you surprised when women are funny?
I'm probably funnier than you.
No, you're just not. I've probably seen a cat being shagged by a raccoon and it would still have more humor than you do.
How does it feel to interrupt me when I'm in the middle of making a point during a meeting?
Well, if you have a valid point, feel free to throw your lawsuit at me if I interrupt you, especially if it's in a workplace. I have no right to interrupt you, especially if you're explaining something really serious. But if your point makes as much sense as trying to communicate to a mosquito, asking politely for him to not give you malaria, then I've got all reason to stop you and ask you what the hell are you saying.
Why are women perceived as the weaker sex, even though we literally birth you?
Well, clearly you haven't done your research. It's scientifically proven that men are physically stronger than women. Emotionally, I don't know, because I have met some really sensitive dudes out there. But in terms of physical strength, I do take a few exceptions, like bodybuilders, UFC fighters, anything that involves a combat sport. Those chicks can probably whip my ass, but what do I know? Logic is sexist, isn't it?
Why is it so bad to show your emotion?
Oh, I show my emotions very much. You should see me on pro clubs and search and destroy lobbies. We share our feelings in a very controlled vegan environment.
Why the isn't it ladylike to cuss? When did words get gender?
Isn't that why you add the word man into everything that a dude does that logically proves you wrong? I know a good load of females in my school that I go to that swear a lot more than I do and swear a lot more than a handful of men do. I'm not talking words like shit, bollocks, and Hitler. I'm talking about down bad words.
Why do you think women that wear makeup are false advertising?
Because most of you are falsely advertising. I have put up some pictures on the screen clearly showing you guys how you go from Selena Gomez to James Chuggles. A word of advice when you're meeting a girl, straight off the bat go to a beach, let all the makeup wash off her face, and then if she comes out of the water looking like Sid the Sloth, the best thing to do is take a taxi and run away.
How does it feel to get kicked in the balls?
I have had my fair share of being Bangkoked, and it isn't pleasant at all. I'd get real pissed off with someone if they did it to me. I would have continuous thoughts throughout the day of making very threatening insults and rearranging their organs to run on Colonel burgers.
Do you ever get tired of trying to be manly all the time?
Seems like the question that you're asking is more directed at yourself, since you're dressed like you're straight out of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3.
Why are opinionated women seen as bitches?
When opinionated men are seen as bosses.
Because most women with opinions that are similar to yours have the personality of a shady eBay dealer. I'd agree to your point if it wasn't as sexist as a Lily Singh fan nowadays. I can understand if it's in a workplace where your opinions matter, but at the moment you're running your stinky mouths about how 77 cents equal $1 and why I should pay full rent, explains why people think of you the way they do.
Why aren't you speaking up when you hear your male friends behind closed doors make jokes that are offensive to women?
Well, if I did that where I live, I'd be called a beta male simp. Why do you want us to say yo mama jokes at this point? Why don't you speak up when your friends make fun of every bodily feature that isn't a clone of the cast of High School Musical Part 58 from the ends of West London? Well, I've just had a brain failure watching that. Let me just add on to the pain by watching a video about manspreading. Yes, they've made it into an actual word. That's like adding the word child to a guy whose name is Bill Cosby. Essentially what manspreading is when us men spread our legs out to make room for the obvious. I don't see where the problem is in that, but apparently to feminists it's a life-changing crisis.
Manspreading is when a man spreads his physical body to take up as much space as humanly possible.
Well, not to point out the obvious, but you see, we've got 2 Maltesers and a Tex chocolate in between our legs. And if they aren't safe, there may not ever be another child on this planet.
I have so many vivid memories as a child of my mum telling me to close my leg.
Not to be disrespectful and not a part of the holy Minecraft server members, but he or she looks like Leafy's twin sister or brother. Well, those are some new Call of Duty operators. When did they get added in? No one told me that there was a Sims and COD crossover event.
I just manspread on the bus for maybe a 5-minute ride for the first time, and it wasn't even half full, and I was already getting glared at, so I think this is going to be a kind of long week.
Yeah, glare at people who think you have a penis.
I just got my nails done, and I manspread during my entire manicure, and nobody really seemed to notice. I'm not sure if it was because it was all women and we were just all kind of in our own world or what, but it was kind of awesome.
Maybe it's because no one gives 2 shits. Damn, never thought of that, did you? First you said it wouldn't be pleasant, and now you're saying that it's awesome. I'm beginning to think that she has more manly traits than Leafy over there.
I saw a guy who was taking up 2 seats. When I sat down, I spread my legs out, which kind of pushed his leg into his own seat, and he turned to me and gave me a dirty look and said, "Seriously?"
That's not proving a point, it's just being a stuck-up piece of feces.
So I've come across another person, quote-unquote, manspreading, but wait, they identify as female. Women can take up space as well?
Well, you can, but there's no point to you females. Oh, and it's the long-awaited return of the wannabe Fresh Princess of Alabama with her flat-back cap. How's Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 doing you?
I've not enjoyed this week at all. The very first day where a group of people came on, they were going to a game and they were all desperate for a seat, and I was taking up 3 seats, and they started talking about personal space. To be forced to manspread really showed me how up your own ass you have to be as a person to not be conscious of those around you.
Just saying, Leafy's twin sister, that's not manspreading, that's being an obnoxious piece of shit. I haven't seen one dude take up 3 seats and use the excuse that he's trying to prove a point to the idiots at BuzzFeed that pay me for doing this. At the expense of public humiliation anyways. So after that useless bit of information and the preschool questions, I've learnt as much as I know how to speak French. The points that these very educated and non-delusional people at BuzzFeed try to prove are completely useless and make no contribution to the cause of feminism. You're just embarrassing yourselves. Your grandkids are going to ask what you did in your youth, and you're going to tell them that you did stuff for BuzzFeed and then got paid, only to get publicly humiliated by every commentary channel on the face of the YouTube platform. Well, most of the questions asked by these feminists have zero room for reasoning at all. They just seem to force it onto you, and you are expected to agree with them even though you really don't. It seems like no one is agreeing with you, except a handful. Based on the dislike to like ratio, you're just going to get clowned on a daily basis by commentary channels like mine. Now if you excuse me, I'm going to inform Leafy that he has a twin sister and I found his chin. Hopefully you guys enjoyed my little take on the BuzzFeed feminists. Make sure you guys leave a comment down below on what are your thoughts about it. I'm really interested to see if people actually agree with these guys. Obviously, besides feminists who I believe would agree with them, I'm talking about the beta male simps out there who agree with them. I want to hear what are your thoughts about it, so leave a comment down below. That's going to be all for me in today's video. Hopefully you guys liked it. Peace.